And I mean two people who can teach us a lot. I'm going to refer to the Cannabis Cup Guide, this handy booklet, which I never have a copy of, introduce our guest. Mishka is a writer and journalist who has written 2 books on him, Le dossier d'une drogue douce, Le cannabis était une drogue, Petite histoire du chanvre. Next month, she has a problem. She is one of the people who sometimes hit the speed bump in the road to paradise of hemp. But she may or may not want to talk about that. What she probably really wants to talk about is a brand new book she has just published, Le Chanvre, Renaissance du Cannabis. Okay. In April issue of High Times in 1996, many of the things we've learned here at this expo will be published in a special hemp issue, along with an excerpt from her book. But we're lucky because she can tell us before we have to sit down and read all the way through it. She will speak first, and then she'll be followed by Matthias Brockers. Sorry, it's the curse of glasses. Matthias Brockers is a writer and edited Jack Herer's Emperor, a book you're all very familiar with, in Germany. He's the founder and director of the Hemphaus Company, which reintroduced hemp to the German market in 1993, and runs a chain of 14 hemp stores. He also founded Heimgesellschaft, a non-profit association of hemp farmers, producers, and distributors. He's very famous in America, Mr. Brockers. 3 weeks ago, the New York Times printed an article about him, and if it's in the New York Times, we know it's all true. This is probably the truest thing they've ever printed. And the headline was about the change in the laws in Germany to license the production of industrial hemp. It mentions some very significant numbers. The one I remember is the sales of his version of Jack Herer's book, which is 100,000 copies of the book sold in Germany. That's a lot of books. It mentioned many bigger figures of thousands of hectares and so forth. So what happened in America is that for the first time Americans become aware that there might be something called industrial hemp, and the world is changing its attitude toward it. So we have much to learn from him as well. So first we'll have Mishka and Matthias Brockers. Thank you.
Hello. Bonjour. Perhaps both. As you just heard, I am indeed going to be standing in front of a judge on the 14th of December in Paris for a trial that's related to cannabis, and I can tell you about that later if you're interested. Basically, I'm supposed to be talking to you here now about hemp. So I think probably the way things are going in France is what you want to hear about. So I'm going to tell you some of that. But, I'm willing to go wherever you want to take me. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to sense of hemp. So you could argue that. You could argue that point. The thing that's interesting is that the two sides of the plants, obviously, the smoke and the rope, or whatever you want to call it, the status of one always has an effect on it goes, both sides are linked, you can't separate them. So anyway, the one thing that I have discovered, when I was doing research for this book, is the extent to which the growing of hemp and traditions related to the growing of hemp could still be traced in France. And so the way it is with hemp in France is that you've had it growing ever since, just before this era, just before, like for 2,000 years. 2,000 years ago is when it started coming in. And then it spread through France till in the 16th century it was really growing very, very widely, and even more so as sailing ships became more and more important. And so during all that period of time, all those centuries going one after the other, always hemp was a big part of people's life. And so you have customs like, in certain areas of France, when you were sewing hemp, you were supposed to hitch up your pants, supposing you were a man or you were wearing pants, you were supposed to have them as high as you could while you were sewing, because this would assure you that hemp would grow as tall as it could. You have a number of customs like that you can trace. Or on the day, France being a Catholic country, on the day when they take the pound or, to be blessed, they would, the people a lot of time, they took, what do you call that, holy something? What plant is it? Palm is one, okay, well, but it's, in France, traditionally they use another one. I can't think of the name of it now. But they would take great care to take one to church to be blessed that was straight, not one that would go like this, to ensure that their hemp would grow straight and not grow like this, and would have better fiber. So in many, many ways you have traditions like that all over the place. Also, it was very interesting to find that there is perhaps there are dozens of names of towns and places in France, which name can be traced to hemp. Like you have Hempstead for a name, you have a great number of places like that. And I think this holds true in all of European countries. It would be really interesting to do that research. I wonder if someone has done it in Germany. You can perhaps tell us about that. So the way people worked hemp in France for 2,000 years, the thing that's really interesting is that for 2,000 years, basically, people worked it the same way. As in, they grew it, they pulled it because they didn't want to waste any of it, so they kept the root. And supposedly, the old farmers tell me that the root has a great percentage of valuable fiber. So they pulled it and tied it, and 12 stalks, make a handle, tie a handle, get the handles together, and take that to the river or to a pond and put it underwater with stones on it. So you see, people were doing that at the Stone Age where they started, and so basically it's still the same technique coming right through the centuries, and you still have it at the end of the 19th century in France. At the end of that century, it starts going down, the production, but it's still there and it's still worked in the same way. People take it to the pond, put the stones on, leave it till the fibers, leave it to ferment, till the fibers are ready to be pulled off. Then they pull the bunches to dry on the edge of the pond or on the river, and let it dry. And then after that, with stones or with a very primitive tool that goes like this, and you get the stove through. They break the stove, and then with a carve, sort of what do you call it?
Comb.
A comb. And then comb the fibers, and there they are. Basically, this is to make it simple, this is what people do, and this is what people have done, and then found the fibers with stone or woods again. And then basically you have the fibers, and you can start working with them, that is spinning them and so on. Okay, so this traditional way of working with hemp reached a peak in, say, 1875 in France, where you had 176,000 hectares of hemp being grown, which is really a lot. It really was grown and worked everywhere. And still France was importing some at that point. And then gradually it started going down until it was 1914. There was almost none left. It was a very rapid decrease. And there was still some going on. It picked up a bit during the war because, as you probably all know, wars up to this point, wars have always meant a need for hemp. And then, so it's down to nothing till the last harvest of this traditional hemp in France is in 1965. Up to 1965, so you had people in France working in that way, and of course a large portion of the hemp that we import in the Western world is still worked that way in different parts of the third world. In 1965, when it was obvious, when hemp as a textile was totally dead, it was obvious that there was no future in it. Some people started using the hemp hairs, that is what you comb away when you want the fiber, those bits of wood. They started using them to add them to the paper pulp to make better paper. France is now growing about 6,000 hectares of hemp, and the whole of that hemp is used to make these fine papers, like cigarette papers that are fine and pliable and strong. They use linen, they use flax, they use some cotton, and they use a lot of hemp. And France is the number one producer of hemp and exporter of cigarette paper, and this is what the hemp goes into. So this paper, this using of hemp for paper is something that has been growing ever since it started in the 60s. So what you have in France is an uninterrupted cultivation of hemp, but going from one system, which is the traditional harvesting and transformation, dying down, and then the new process, which is industrial, for paper coming up. So the situation in France now is you are allowed to grow hemp. You have been always, provided it's only certain varieties that have less than 3%, 0.3% THC in them. You are allowed to grow it. In theory, but in practice it's very difficult because supposing I'm a farmer and I want to grow hemp, I can't just go and get the seeds and grow it. I have to find someone who is going to buy my hemp harvest and make it into paper. And now this person is the one who is allowed to buy the seed for me. So it's it's a built-in sort of safety device to make sure that only the permitted varieties are going to be grown. And so, yes, there is a tradition of hemp growing in France, but it's not doing very much, and it's not doing. If it wants to move forward, it must come up, and that's the same in every country, with new technologies for fabric, modern technologies to make, for instance, textile. And of course, this is where research is going in many different countries at the same time. So this is where it really is at. So this book here, basically, rather than being about hemp, is about a history of the hemp movement. It is interesting to realize that the hemp movement has a birth date, and the birth date is the coming out of The Emperor Wears No Clothes, and that's 1985. So it's 10 years old. But of course, at first there was no movement. There was just this one guy with this one book, and then gradually it became a movement. And in the United States, and then very rapidly it crossed over to this country, Holland, with its special tolerance regarding cannabis. And so hemp started existing here in Holland. And then it kept spreading, and all that went very rapidly. And of course, where would it spread most in Europe? Well, in the country that is the most concerned about the environment. And this is Germany. So hemp is really big in Germany, as you've realized. But it's spreading further than that in Europe. It's spread to Switzerland, where there's a very interesting legislation because the actual leaf of the plant is not forbidden in Switzerland, provided it is not grown with the intent of getting narcotics out of it. So that allows for very many interesting developments. And it's in Belgium, so France is surrounded, in fact, by that tide coming in. It's got Belgium, it's got Switzerland, and this book came out like a couple of days ago, so with a little blog. France is going to turn hemp crazy overnight.
All right.
Are there any direction or questions you would like to ask?
And cannabis looked at in France as far as the general public?
Well, there is this basic idea, which is quite common outside of France too, that you have two different types of plant, one which is cannabis sativa, which is hemp, and one which is called cannabis indica, which would be the smoke type. And so it comes as a bit of a shock to the traditional hemp farmers when you tell them that it is all one and the same plant. But it's a plant that they really, you meet old farmers and they really love the plant for whatever reason. They have a real feeling for it. And so a lot of them, they don't close their mind to the idea that there's something else to this plant that they didn't know about. And I think some of them, it gives them an openness to that side. As far as the laws are concerned in France, there's concerning cannabis, smoke, there's quite a lot of repression going on. And it could be worse, but there is repression. And one thing that makes the French situation particularly difficult is that there is this law that says that you're going to be fined very heavily if it can be shown that your writing, as a writer or as a journalist, is presenting cannabis in a favorable light. So there isn't much, it doesn't give much room. And what's worse is that the police are under the impression, or they've chosen to look at it that way, that just to show the leaf is an incitation, is to say, it's like saying to people, come on, go and have some. So people who with marijuana leaf on their t-shirt in France, they get a bad time with the police. They are taken to the police station and they have to take off that t-shirt. Which is so. This is one factor that gives the hemp movement an added touch in France, because hemp is legal. It's legally grown in France. If you have a legal hemp product with a legal hemp leaf on it, there's nothing they can do about that. So I think the hemp movement is going, at least to begin with, it's going to free us from this difficulty with just representing the leaf.
I'm curious, Mishka, are there any designers in Paris that are working with hemp?
Well, there are some that are interested. A lot of people are interested. I've talked to a lot of people and they're really interested. But once they get down to it, if hemp cloth was available easily, in large quantities, to their way of thinking, then lots of people would go ahead with it. That's where it's at. Things are beginning to move in France. The Hemp Institute is beginning. It could be that within a year we are producing hemp fabric in France. They're doing it on a trials scale, and it doesn't take that much, I understand, to go from flax to hemp. and a lot of flax is being grown in France.
Well, do you think, are they going to be more likely to use hemp if it's grown and processed in France?
Yes.
Okay, so they wouldn't be as likely to import it from other countries, you think?
Well, I think, the people who are in designing clothes in France at this point, it seems to them, I think, like too much of an effort to go and import cloth. There will come a point where someone thinks that it's worth the effort and someone is going to do it, but it hasn't happened yet.
I'd like to know a little bit more about what's going on with the Nahas trial and how you got involved in that and how this case came up and what's being done in defense of this case and how it's being done.
Okay. Well, going back a bit further, when I first wrote on cannabis, it was in a book that came out in France in 1978, there already was a chapter on Gabriel Nahas, because this man, to my mind, is there's only one other, and that is Anslinger, who I can think of as having done so much, just single-handed, to have prohibition. Now, the situation is different. Gabriel Nahas is a scientist.
Is he truly a scientist?
Yes, he is truly a scientist, unfortunately. No, he has credentials truly as a scientist. But the thing is that because he's on a crusade, because he thinks that marijuana threatens moral values and threatens the society and threatens everything you can think of. He sees marijuana as so much of a threat that he uses his status as a scientist to give credits to studies that are discredited in the real scientific world. People who really look into it, and also he uses his status as a scientist to draw unwarranted conclusions out of studies that are by themselves all right. So all in all, he has really been, for the last 30 years, he has really been given the governments, the United States, France, now Sweden, everywhere, because this man worked with the United Nations for a long time, which helps you understand why he has, a foot in so many countries. So he has really provided the fake science that people use to say, you see, marijuana is so dangerous, we can't allow it, basically. So now this article, basically what happened is a couple of years ago, I wrote an article on Gabriel Nahas. I had written 2 books at that point, and I sort of felt, this is enough, repeating the same thing, but always, like it's done in scientific circles. You don't say it in scientific circles. There's a number of things that for instance, you don't pronounce a man's name, and that is one way that everybody knows that, no. But you don't actually go and say this man is a fraud. You can't do these things. So when I wrote this article, I got a bit tired of always, doing things properly. So I just made my font a little bit more clear than you normally do. But there is an English version, and you can pick it up and read it if you like. I'm quite happy with everything that is in this article, and I really mean everything that's in it. So anyway, Gabriel Nahas is suing me for libel because I'm hurting his reputation. So this is what the trial is about.
What is the defense based on? Do you have scientific experts who will that can testify and defend?
So what I needed in this case was to have expert witnesses. But And of course, I have them. I have, like Lester Greenspoon, John Morgan, Eric Fromberg from the NIAID here, and a number of really, and Hans-Georg Burr from Germany, who has really studied this case. I have really the best people coming to testify. But the point is, the hard part is that to the judge, it might appear like a battle of experts, So the judge is probably going to say, well, who am I to say what expert is right?
Could you comment on the influence, the editorial?
I still haven't read the Lancet article.
Oh, okay.
And but you see, in a case like this, you have to stand behind what is in this article. So in this article, it refers basically to two specific studies. One which is referred to as the Heath study, which is a study with monkeys, forced breathing of cannabis smoke in a mask for monkeys, and then you autopsy the monkeys, you kill them, and you autopsy the monkeys, and you see they have brain damage. So what is the conclusion? Cannabis does brain damage. Now, if you take the trouble to look at the methodology, at the methods, that went into this, into doing this, you see that it was forced breathing of the monkeys. So all they had to breathe was cannabis smoke. There was no air for them to breathe, so they were asphyxiated. So, well, of course, there's brain damage when you're asphyxiated. It's this sort of pretending that something is science when really it isn't. The other one? Okay. If any of you are interested, there is a translation of the article here in English. There is the original article here in French, and there are a few copies of a press release that's going on. Gabriel Nehas as an alliance against drugs. And so the people that come out that belong to this alliance, a lot of them become advisors to the government. And so we had the Gabriel Nehas' point of view on this pilot argument study, this pilot study, which I'm going to tell you about. This was mentioned by the health minister in front of the press. So it ends up being total brainwashing of the whole country. So the pilot. Well, I don't want to be too long over that because it runs in 3 stages. But basically, it's using a study. Pilots were on a flight simulator. They were using the flight simulator without smoking and with leadless mode. And then their reactions were measured like 15 minutes later, half an hour later, 4 hours later, 24 hours later. Okay. So once they do this experiment and nothing comes up, no significant results. So they feel bad, the people who are running this experiment, because they need money to be able to carry on with their experiments. So they design the experiment another way so that perhaps this time some significant results are going to come out. And so they do it again, and this time a difference appeared 24 hours after smoking a joint. So there they really have a result, you see, something that can go in the press. And well, if you look at the way they present their experiment, there is, as scientists had to explain to me, because I'm not a scientist, there is the way they present the graph that they use to present this shows to people to scientists that it's only a minute difference. But, there is a difference. And so, in the end, the only way to show what sort of a difference it is to tell you that there was a difference in performance between the pilots that were like 25 years old and those that were 35 years old. There's a slight difference. But it's that same difference that was found between on the pilots 24 hours later. So then the next day, a few days later in the paper, you can read that someone who had smoked a joint 24 hours before cannot land a plane. That's how it ended in the paper.
Drug prices in Europe yet they're very chummy with the Moroccans, where all the drugs come from. Why is that?
Well, I think yeah, there is a wine, and the wine is, all European countries have got to open their borders and come to an agreement as to how they're going to, they have come to some sort of agreement as to how they're going to deal with drugs.
The French are going to drop out of Schengen.
So the French are putting tremendous pressure on the Dutch government, of course, as we all know. At least the French government is putting heavy pressure on the Dutch government. And to me it was interesting to see that the way
The drugs come from Morocco.
Yes, it does.
He's referring to the study Alain Labrousse
Yes.
shows this.
Yes, I know. It comes from Morocco, yes, but, it's all to do with the King of Morocco being our good friend, as he's referred to.
His brother is a friend to many others.
Over here this time, did you tell the crime sinister hero Chirac to lighten up and light up, please?
Satisfied with Chirac, so that tells you a bit of an answer as to where the French people stand in comparison with this issue and others.
I prepared something because I'm not so familiar with English. Before I start, one incredible important news today in the German press. I tried to translate it. The Secretary of State of Health of the states of Germany are going to give out hashish by state in Germany in a pilot project. From next year on, a model shall be approved in Germany, giving out cannabis drugs to the people by state. And this is this will not be in the whole country, only in some states as a model, as a trial, but it will come. Okay. In the New York Times, Germany lifting ban on hemp growing, but not on marijuana. This was 3 weeks before. And now the first small ban of marijuana is also lifted. Okay. Thank you for inviting me to speak here to you about the situation of hemp or cannabis in Germany. Please allow me to introduce myself shortly. My first contact with hemp took place right here in Amsterdam in the summer of 1969. I was 15 then, and with some friends I went on a Boy Scout bike tour along the River Rhine. At least that's what we told our parents. Instead we went to Amsterdam, biked 2 nights straight to the Paradiso Hall, home of the hippies, the music and the hemp. My first experience with hemp had no effect whatsoever on me. But 2 weeks later I was proud to smuggle my first piece of hash across the border. I knew nothing about hanf or hemp, except that it was used for ropes. And I never expected to come back to Amsterdam 25 years later with a station wagon full of different products, all made from this incredible plant. In the 80s, I worked as a journalist and author and found smoking cannabis useful for writing and working. I headed the cultural desk of the Tageszeitung, an alternative, independent, ad-free daily, where we published a lot about the dangers of the drug policy, the prohibition, and the crazy classification of cannabis and psychedelics as hard drugs. Even at this time, I knew nothing about the history of hemp as one of mankind's most important resources. Until in the summer of 1987, when I came back to my office after a holiday and found on my desk a photocopy of an American book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes by Jack Herer. There was no envelope, no letter, no notice at all. Just the Xerox pages.
Until today, I don't know who to thank for supplying me with this basic information. But at first there was no reason to thank anybody because I simply couldn't believe what I read in this book. I was familiar with the literature of hashish, from De Quincey Baudelaire to Tim Leary and Terence McKenna, and I knew the cultural history of cannabis drugs very well, but what Jack Herer wrote on hemp as a universal natural resource and about the economical reasons of its prohibition seemed at first sight unbelievable. I suspected two things. First, this is another one of those notorious American conspiracy theories which are good fun to read but shouldn't take too seriously. Second, the stories about the ecological values of hemp must be merely a trick to legalize pot through the back door. Though after having read it a second time and after a closer look at the documents and the sources, I was not so sure anymore about my suspicions. At the 50th anniversary of the Marijuana Tax Act in September 1978, I published a large article in the paper telling the story of hemp prohibition and its industrial, non-drug related backgrounds, the story of DuPont, Dirty Harry Anslinger, of Henry Ford's biomass car, and all the main topics of Jack's book, which I cited several times in the article. I expected some publishers would call me after seeing it in the paper, asking for a copy, but nothing happened. In the following years, I recommended the book for translation to several publishers, but no one was really interested. Till in 1992, Lutz Groth of 2001 decided to publish it. My contract was to write a foreword of 10 pages to the German-speaking readers, but when I went to the libraries to research the German hemp history, if there was such a thing, I bumped into a whole treasure of interesting material. Among other things, I dug out Die lustige Hanffibel, the Jolly Hemp Primer from 1943, which was not listed in any library catalog, and which is the comic book pendant to the American film Hemp for Victory. My 10-page foreword already exceeded 100 pages, and I had found nothing to prove Jack Herer's story wrong. I told the publisher, no one is going to believe all this. The readers will say it's just an American and a German pothead fooling us with fake eco-values of dope. What we need is scientific proof, something official. So we contracted the well-known German Eco-Institute Katalyse to prepare a scientific study comparing the values of hemp with other crops. These 3 months, while Michael Karus and the Katalyse scientists checked on all the available data on hemp cultivation worldwide, were quite a strain on my nerves, because what would we do if they found hidden disadvantages of hemp? I wasn't keen to publish a book whose quite sensational claims could easily prove wrong. But the results of the study were in some points even better than Jack's euphoric claims. And even in detail, where the study showed some of the data as rather optimistic, the basic outcome was definitely positive for hemp. At this point, I became sure that the book would move something, that it would not be just another average item on the information market, but that it might well trigger the comeback of a hemp industry in Germany. But one thing was still missing, the undoubtable hands-on evidence on which I had pig-headedly insisted, the hemp paper to print the book on. When the publishing house first called its paper supplier, the Schneider-Söhne Company, Germany's biggest wholesaler on printing paper, saying we're going to do a book about hemp and the editor wants to print it on hemp paper, the manager said, hemp paper? Never heard of it. Your boss must have smoked too much of that stuff. But without hemp canvases and paper, not much of the artwork of past centuries would have survived till today, and in good condition too, while modern papers and painting canvases more or less disintegrate after 5 or 6 decades due to the chemical involved. Well, I gave the Schneider-Söhne boys the address of a Chinese paper mill and of a hemp pulp factory in Spain. And finally, in July 1933, the first hemp paper from 50% Spanish hemp pulp and 50% recycling paper came out of the South German paper mill. Already before the publishing, news about the hemp paper spread, and people phoned me asking whether they could get it. To the first 2 or 3 callers, I denied that there was any paper from hemp except for the book. But when the calls kept coming in, we thought, oh well, let's produce more paper to supply these people. And let's put an address in the book as service for interested readers and possible buyers. This was the birth of Hanfhaus, which I founded together with my wife and 2 friends in September 1933.
93.
What was thought to be only
93.
93, sorry, yes, sure.
You didn't look that old.
What was thought to be only a service for fans and enthusiastic readers developed quickly into a real enterprise. 4 weeks after the book was on the market, we had already gotten more than 500 requests for paper, fabrics, textile, seed, and any hemp product you possibly can imagine. But there were no hemp products. And the first products Hanfhaus sold by mail orders were hemp paper, fabrics by the meter from Hungary and China, and baseball caps from California. Thus, only a half a dozen products were the seed which developed as fast as the hemp plant on the field. Today, more than 100 different products are on stock at the Hanfhaus store, and you can have a look at our catalog here at the booth. It's incredible how much products were developed in the last 18 months. In April 94, we opened the first Hanfhaus shop in Germany, in Berlin, launching the first time 100% hemp jeans and a whole range of jeanswear and hemp oil cosmetics. Today there are 14 Hanfhaus shops all over Germany and 1 in Switzerland. Everyone becomes a shareholder of the Hanfhaus company and in return is licensed to use the trademark exclusively in its town. It's not a regular franchise system since the shops handle their local business autonomously, but they all work together and take part in the development, production and profit loss of the whole company. This kind of business network proved itself very successful, and we believe that this is only the beginning. In the footsteps of Hanfhaus, about 2 dozens of competitors have started hemp business in producing and developing hemp goods, opening hemp stores and so on. We see that competition with mixed feelings. It's most important to have more and more people involved in the rebuilding of a hemp economy. And on the other hand, you always get people mixed in which just for the quick money put questionable items on the market. For example, you cannot see the difference between hemp fabric and fabrics made from flax with the naked eye. Therefore, Hanfhaus takes great care to ensure the pureness and the ecological quality of raw material and its processing. We believe that only with a high standard of ecological quality, hemp will have a chance to establish itself as an important part of the future economy. This means by next year, when hemp cultivation will at least again be legal in Germany, the creation of a national hemp processing industry will be of paramount importance and our main task. Hanfhaus already has shifted the entire production of textiles to German manufacturers. Only the raw fabric or yarn is imported for the time being, and all the rest, weaving, refining, softening, and all natural dyeing is already done in Germany. Of course, production here is more expensive, but that's more than made up by regaining the forgotten and forgotten know-how. Also, it enables us to maintain a high standard of eco-friendly production methods. As we see it, hemp will have a future not as an import product from overseas, but as a universal resource for local economies. And it will have the more future, the more it is connected with new techniques and machinery. For example, new methods of hemp pulp making developed here in the Netherlands, which will make hemp paper more affordable, or new processes of steam retting, which were developed in Germany and enables us to produce hemp fiber of incredible fineness, softness and quality. with such ecological and state-of-the-art technology, the hemp plant will become a real alternative to cutting down forests for paper and to intoxicating the earth with pesticides for, say, cotton. Some examples what you get when you make this old resource suitable to new knowledge and research. Can you give me my back, please? I want to show you some of the examples. No, it's okay.
Excuse me, I want to...
First 100% hemp t-shirt we made in this spring. We brought yarn from China and from East Europe to Italy. You can give it around and you can have a look at it. Don't give it back because this is a hemp textile. It's so fine. 1 year before I never thought that such a thing could be done. And it's extremely expensive. We sell the piece in our stores for $100 American. At the moment, this must be because it's a very small amount of pieces we do, and we did a lot for the development, but the price can go straight down if it comes to a mass production. We have another similar product here. These are the first 100% hemp socks, and this is also an example what you get if you are straight on hemp, because 1 year before the people said, hey, if you want to have fine clothes, use cotton or mixtures or blends. But we said, no, we want 100%, and now we got it. And it's not only hemp, it's this clothing, these socks too have unique qualities. You can wear it a consecutive week without any bad smell. We had these t-shirts ready beginning of the summer, and they were extremely expensive, but some people bought it and they came back some weeks later saying, hey, I want to buy another one. I never experienced a cloth like that. I'm sweating all the day, and on the next morning it's okay, I can wear it again. And this is the thing what excites me, because 2 years before I was not familiar with textiles or paper or stuff in detail, and now we find that it is not only hemp and an environmentally friendly plant like a lot other, it has unique qualities. And another unique quality of hemp we have worked out, and you have heard of it probably, and this is a detergent from hemp. 1.5 years before, or 1 year before, only 1 year before, an inventor called me and told me, yes, I have invented and patented a process making washing active substances, so-called surfactants, out of plant oils. And I have heard about hemp and I've read your book, and I want to try it with hemp oil. And we gave him hemp seed oil for some experiments. I gave him 1 bottle, 1/2 liter of hemp seed oil, and 2 weeks later he came back and said, here is your hemp seed oil. It's detergent. And we will go into production now. This will be on the market in January, and it's amazing stuff. We have tested all this, and this detergent and also this spot remover. It's a kind of pasta. Some of you were at our booth here nearby. I made some demonstration already in the last days, but I will demonstrate it now again. This is a cream or pasta made from this washing active substances from hemp oil, and they are biodegradable in only 10 days. They are all natural made, and they have a power to clean, which is better than all the chemical and heavy toxic stuff on the market. You can eat this detergent. And I want someone from the audience. this is a piece of hemp fabric, and I want someone to mark it with 3X, triple X with his lipstick or his ink or ballpoint or whatever.
Wine?
And so, okay, this will. We have to wait now 3 or 5 minutes.
Here, try this.
Okay,
You'll never get this out.
we turn this after, okay? We will make another experiment with the red wine.
That's the real test.
Okay, okay. At the corner, we take the red wine. Something on here. Okay. But what we found out in the last month, that this detergent and this spot remover really works better than anything which is on the market. I have a family and 2 kids. We use the laboratory stuff from this detergent in the last half year in our family. And that's the best test you can have. And we are totally satisfied with the quality of that. And the ecologists are more satisfied because this is all natural. You saw me eating it. It's no cheap trick. This is biological. And also it's friendly to the water and to the environment when it comes out after your washing has been done. And I think that this could be a product that could trigger the whole hemp thing forward, because this is an example for what you get if you put new knowledge, new technologies to this old plant. And the guy who invented it, he tried it with every plant oil which is available. He used 40 different plant oil in his patented process to make these washing active substances, and hemp oil worked best. I asked him why. Why? He said, I need a half year to analyze why it is so. But what I can guarantee, and what is tested now several times of institutes wherever, this works. So now, are 5 minutes over now? My short time memory.
About 1 minute.
Okay, we wait. Cleaning power is chemical and synthetic surfactant in regular detergents, but are 100% biodegradable in only 10 days. Another example are the natural and non-chemical paints and varnishes based on hemp or hemp oil, which prove to give extremely high yield and show perfect water resistance. And there's the cold-pressed food oil from fresh hemp seeds, which is one of Anfau's top sellers. A lot of customers cured dermatitis and other skin diseases by integrating hemp oil to their food. This is related to the unique content of gamma-linolenic acid in the hemp oil, which will hopefully lead to a great renaissance of hemp oil-based food and cosmetics in the very near future. You can, at our food stand nearby, you can get a catalog where all these products I'm telling about you are in. This hemp oil is one more example for what you get if you put new research on this old plant. We started cold pressing hemp oil, hemp seed oil from fresh hemp seed in spring, and sold it at the Anfau stores, and we had incredible results. The customers cured their skin diseases by eating it, 1 spoon in the morning, 1 spoon in the evening, and rubbing it to their skin. And they came back and said, this is a miracle. I didn't believe that it will work, and it worked. And nothing could help me. I've tried a lot to cure my skin disease, and now this is and at the moment in Germany, a lot of scientific research on that gamma-linolenic acid is going on, and what we are telling the people is that GLA is for your skin, what THC is for your brain, and it really is important substance and important content of the hemp oil, which is unique in food oils. There are some other oils, even in primrose oil, they are very rare and very expensive, and the evening primrose oil is treated by chemicals because it's so rare. It's not an ecological oil, and hemp oil will get in the future the most important source of this gamma-linolenic acid, that's I'm sure. So now we will have a look. What the power of hemp is able to do. This is only cold water. This is not prepared or whatsoever.
Hold it up again.
Perhaps you have tried once to get lipstick out of your shirt or of your handkerchief without. This is only cold water here. Oh, we had a lot of.
Misha, move the mic so we can hear.
Huh?
Move the mic so we can hear.
Yes, but I have to wash.
People in the back can't hear you.
I have to wash it out. So, okay. For example, the lipstick in the middle, where we had the red wine at the corner. And try if you have some spot remover at your home, try to do that with cold water. It won't work. And this works.
Hold it up.
That's a trick in the closet.
Yes, we have some prototypes of that at our place. There's a paste like this. There's a spray which you use before you give your shirt to the washing machine. If there's a heavy spot, you spray it on, and the washing machine puts it out. So on the sides I can't rips of it, but you see in the middle the lipstick and the ink. There's no trace. If someone wants to prove it.
I'm looking at it.
So if you want something, you can have a look at the Handhaus. The reason why the strongest comeback of the hemp plant takes place in Germany, of all places now, is that we separate the rope from the dope. I myself have been an advocate for legalization for a quarter century, but to get hemp back on the fields and local hemp industries built up for the sake of the planet, the legalization of pot must not take first place. It's a shame that every hour and in almost every part of the world, people are imprisoned for nothing else than the possession of this harmless kraut. But we cannot wait until this unjust and insane situation is solved and the last hamster finally has left jail clutching his compensation money. The global fall of the hemp prohibition is not likely to happen in this millennium. But the hemp growing can and must start tomorrow. And the more successful we are in re-establishing hemp as a bioresource and as hemp products become an everyday matter of course again, the less hysterical and misinformed the debate on the recreational use of cannabis will be. If hemp succeeds to become a main part of the new solar green industry of tomorrow, prohibition is bound to disappear all by itself. You cannot kick 50 years of disinformation and brainwash about hemp out of the public mind in a minute. And you cannot stop the insane war on drugs with reason and arguments, because it's a religious war. A war of fanatic and dogmatic believers. Our strategy to fight back is to reintroduce hemp to the fields and focused public awareness on the plant as a whole, with all its ecological, medical, industrial, cultural, and recreational benefits. Therefore, we accept THC-low fiber hemp as a compromise. There were always two kinds of industrial cannabis grown in Germany, the fiber hemp and the medical hemp. And it's scientific bullshit to tell the people that THC-low hemp varieties are weaker in yields and health. Last month, an Austrian farmer called me who had grown THC-low Hungarian hemp for biomass in this year and had harvested incredible 20 tons of dry matter per hectare. That's 8 tons of dry hemp straw for an acre. But not for... This shows clearly we need high THC to get high or to get cured, but not for high yields of fiber or paper or energy. So at Hanfhaus we don't legalize it for recreation in the premier line. We first demand the THC-rich hemp back to the pharmacies and doctors. It's not reasonable for ill and dying people to purchase their medicine on the black markets. The rehabilitation of cannabis as a medicinal herb is an important step on the way to public tolerance of its recreational use. In the last 2 years, we were successful in turning farmers, industry, and markets onto fiber hemp. Now we have to turn on doctors, pharmacists, and healers onto the values of THC. Since the publishing of Lester Grinspoon's book in Germany last year, the medical discussion is on a good way. There was a first conference on cannabis and AIDS in October in Berlin. In some clinics, research with cancer and AIDS patients is going on. In Berlin and in other cities, self-help groups of patients are forming, organizing their supply of cannabis. And there's a kind of Robin Hood of the German hamsters traveling through the country at the moment with trunks full of finest marijuana, giving it away for free to self-help and medical groups. He and a couple of partners have grown 25 huge fields of best outdoor marijuana all over the country and the nation. They get financed by selling the seed to the grow shops, which can operate legal in Germany. And they donate the tops to cancer and AIDS patients. This is the kind of spirit we need in the hemp movement, just doing it. Last year, the German Federal Court judged that the occasional private use of cannabis is no crime anymore. The states were demanded to define a uniform amount for that occasional use, but till today that definition was not found. So you may owe up to 30 grams of hash in some states without prosecution, while in Bavaria only 3 grams are tolerated. The Social Democrats and the Green Party, which have a good chance to come to power in 98, I always change that, you know what I mean. Both parties demand decriminalization and prefer the Dutch coffee shop model for distribution. So Germany is not far away from a civilized and human regulation of cannabis drugs, like here in Holland. And if the Chancellor Kohl, which means cabbage, if the cabbage is finally plowed down and hemp is growing on the soils again. I live in a city which has become a symbol 6 years before. A symbol for unexpected and immediate change of apparently unchangeable things. The Berlin Wall came down. So we will bring the wall of prohibition down too, making the little hemp leaf a base and a paradigm of a global change to the green economy and the green spirit of the future. Thank you.
Habt ihr noch Zeit oder so? Ja, voll früh. Ja, ich habe Geschäft. Kann man mich über Internet erreichen?
You can do. If you're responsible and cool and good, the law never comes into play. By the time the police are walking up to you or anybody, let's put it this way. When you are somebody's job, you haven't been paying attention. Smoking cannabis is harmless. Playing around with hemp cloth is not only harmless, but it's fun. The people who are resisting are either uninformed, and you don't have to worry, someday they'll be informed, or they're old and they'll die. Really counts will be your fault. I know this is shocking, and you probably don't like to hear this, but you're the adults you've been afraid of all your life. You're them. You're them, I'm you, you're us, etc., etc. It's us, there's no them. If there's any them around here, you're wasting your time. The sooner we're all one big us, which not only should start soon, I'm not asking for your support. As far as I'm concerned, we've been us all along. And what holds us together? Love of pot, possibly. But the love of pot leads to one great big spiritual sacred thing. It's fun. The F-U-N word is why we bother being human beings. So, all I have to say for you is I have nothing for sale. I don't want your signature. I don't want your money. I'd like you all to remember, the way I try to remember myself, that this is not for anything else except for the right and freedom and the human dignity, because we may...
But they're not addicted. You know, they can quit any time, they say. So, and all of these are off of this ACLU survey that was done in 1995 of 1,003 typical voters by a firm who they hired to do it, a professional firm. But a majority of Americans think that it's harmful, that people will have lung damage, perhaps cancer, and so on. And the fact that it's been a 20-year, that there's been a 20-year, or 25-year, or 30-year open laboratory, you know, in the 1960s, I have to admit that in the 1960s, I did experiment with marijuana. It's true. But my experiments weren't ended, so I continued through the 70s. Music concerts, and the concerts, hey, they tried to do it on our airplane, off our airplane. You know what happened there? Did people who, I mentioned this, and you know, so these cannabis stores were trying to bribe some of the judges and so on. And I cannot be bribed, except if it's really good. But anyway, so they were trying to bribe us, you know, and so they had these pre-roll joints. Now, what does one do with a pre-roll joint? Right. And these blue meanies, you could see as the joints continued to get smoked over a period of time. What did they do? What did they do? They got, and they scrunched up. And then they started marching in flanks. You could feel them marching. But you know, it's not illegal to have under 30 grams, right? Or under 5 grams or whatever. And we all did because we had just come from the fascist state. So we had these, they couldn't bust us, but how about those distributors? Let's get them, those are vicious people. And they grabbed them and took them away to the police station where they gave them a stern lecture not to distribute marijuana. But they did what they could. You know, can you imagine how they must feel, how the narcs must feel, the Dutch narcs, when they go to the International Narc Convention? You know, first, you know, like in the United States, I want to go back to it. No, the more people than you, I should go. Hey, but I'm just a newcomer. You should show me I know what to learn. You're not mean enough. Okay, but no. It's different here. Who wants to go? Look, we don't get volunteers. You know, it's in Acapulco. You know, you can watch some busts, and you know, it's a good time. I don't like to drink. I don't want to go. No, listen, my kid has lessons and I can't do it. Come on, we need volunteers to go to the convention. Okay, who's been in the Department the least? You're going! We've got a volunteer, yay! You know, they send them and can you imagine the razzing that this guy gets? I busted 450 people this year. What about you? And then we just sent them tickets. And the people who felt that they were busted, they just showed up. But the people who didn't know what we were talking about just threw the thing away. So anyway, so this guy goes to, it's me. Too much acid. This guy goes to the convention. So this guy goes to the convention, you know, and all he does is he's pouring double scotches so they can go driving under the influence later. But, you know, we live in the United States, getting back to Thanksgiving. There I was, once again here in Holland, trying to celebrate Thanksgiving. And to me, coming back, having to come here to say, to make my wish in Holland, and every year I make a wish on Thanksgiving, or I give thanks for something. And, you know, I usually celebrate it with my wife's family. And, you know, like, one's a photographer, another works for a stockbroker's firm, and I always make them say what they're thankful for. And, you know, like they're usually thankful for material things or the health of their kid. And I always say, well, I'm thankful that I'm out of jail for one more year. Come on, who here is not thankful that they're out of jail for one more year? Well, anybody who isn't, get out! Because I had an argument, you know, I'm known for those, interrupting. I'm known for interrupting sometimes. Well, so I was at this convention put on by the state attorney's office, and this California, and this guy gets up from the office and says, you know, drug users, even pot users, they like to go to jail. It helps them clean out so they can get better highs when they get out of jail. And then he was about to go on to his next subject because he had built that supposition. And I just felt, you know, you take that building block away, it makes it a little harder because it's going to be sort of like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And so I said, that's a lie. Tell them the truth. No one likes. That's a lie. Tell them the truth. No one likes to go to jail. I don't need your fucking microphone. You think just because you have a microphone that they won't hear me in the back? Do you hear me?
Yeah, we
hear. Loud and clear. And the guy said, he started to go on because I stopped. And I said, we can be here all day, but you're not going on until you tell them the truth. And he said, it's true. No one likes to go to jail.
Yeah.
We'll close for only 10 minutes.
We're just close for 10
here?
minutes. Yeah, 60 minutes. Yeah, so we're gonna get.
Oh, you're booted too?
No, I booted myself. Always put one
60 minutes is that the expo?
Yeah. Right here, Morley. Morley's right fucking here. Remember Fatty with Morley, right?
They smoke?
I'd like to.
Sure, yeah. If he does anything, it's probably older, heavier drugs.
Yeah.
Instead of they say they come from they send me hot dogs. This is not the stuff. I stay I thought that we had these long times 2 weeks before Germany lifts ban on hand, but not on now 3 weeks later I can say ban on starting with this
was until we basically explained to them that this was the world's longest, strongest, most durable natural tile. Nowadays it's more confusing, especially here, and especially as I get more serious about the need to provide medical marijuana to patients around the world. It's just another aspect of the plant, another beneficial use of the most useful plant in the world. You know, I started Ohio Country as a criminal defense attorney, and this was my research into hep C cases that convinced me that there was an industrial side of this plant that was being ignored in history. And so I started off researching the seeds, the nutrition, and the fiber. But you can't help but ignore the thousands of years of evidence that this is very beneficial medicine when it's needed for people in certain diseases. And the DEA looked at had a year-long hearing about it, and the judge decided that it was the most
Anybody had kids?
I'll advertise
Oh, yeah.
We're all in it.
Oh, yeah, I qualify.
No, there isn't. You're backwards.
What they shoot, I get copied in 60 right there, like you're displaying, hey, here's our logo, here's our clothes, right, okay, that way it exchanges.
You're working for Philip Morris or something? No.
Hi, John.
That's good.
You want to have a standard
to a product you really have to have 10% to have floated at least 55%. We have a whole industry association trying to certify its quality. We have a little mark we're coming out with the first of the year, like the patent bowl or the swivel for a roll. And we've got a H-type symbol to signify quality hemp products, and 100 and some companies behind it. So that's the difference between this industry and any other industry starting out, is here we have this large common goal that is uniting us. So we're working together very well to protect ourselves as an industry. And we're not sitting there being cutthroats with each other near as much as you see anywhere else. We're all getting along. Wait. Oh, I know.
United States Health Hemp Seed Board. About 3 months.
What's your favorite coffee shop?
Knit sweaters, wearing bags. Guilford, Connecticut, by New Haven. I think so. We do most of the manufacturing in China. They just come out with a sweater, sort of like Tibetan. Yeah, making it stop, making it fuzzy.
I feel good.
Did you enlighten them?
I feel good. A little bit.
A little preaching?
A little bit. Yeah, I got to give my spiel. They wanted.
Has anybody heard when they're going to air that?
No.
January.
Thank you. Good job.
Thanks. Could you guys hear what I was saying?
I was right here, so I can hear a little bit of it. Yes, good job.
We get a lot of the country listening. That's the most important.
Go ahead. Ask me questions. I better answer questions.
How did it feel to be interviewed by Morley's Taylor?
You watch something like Maurice Safer for 25 years that he's been on this program, and he's got more credibility than about anybody in America right now. And for him to take this as a serious issue feels wonderful. And he likes this stuff. I think he'll wear his shirt proudly that we gave him.
Did he smoke a joint with you?
I wasn't about to do that. He's trying to draw the difference between what's rope and what's dope.
Balloting process. You know that you can vote for anything. We put some names on the ballot because some people can't remember what's what. But on the ballot is what was given away at council. All the names and things that were given at the opening ceremonies. But you don't have to vote for what's on the ballot. You can vote for anything you want.
People are coming in late. You're free to move in here and circle up. Save us a little space. Let's not crowd the door, please, okay? Come on in. Sit on the floor. You can sit right in front of the people that are sitting in chairs. Let's clear the doorway.
Thank you, Malcolm. We only need enough room for one person to stand right here in the center. We can seat people in circles all the way up to one person stands here, and we take turns and we talk one person at a time.
Courage Seed Bank, and it says Soma Skunk Bio. A lot of you never got to see or taste that herb because only a little bit of it came here. But I'd just like to say it while everybody was here, the place where that herb got grown in the United States got totally genocided. And things like that happen in the United States all the time. So I'm glad at least a little bit of it got to get entered into the seed bank entry while those seeds could still get grown in that geographical location. But that geographical location doesn't exist anymore.
If there are any offerings to hand out to council, any offerings, we'll do that now.
Hi everybody, I can hardly talk. It's been a great week. Our friends at the Picasso Coffee Shop missed the party on Thursday night, and he came by yesterday and asked me to give his offerings to council. Unfortunately, I was doing some work on the ballots, but I do have them here. Exactly what he gave me. Didn't keep any for myself. I'm going to try it because I'm in town trying to get as far to the back as I can. But these are for the Picasso Coffee Shop. He's got something on the Harlem shop, and it's a really nice shop. He's got something called Poison, something called Primo Skunk, Primo Skunk, something that's called 75 Cure, which is actual aged cured marijuana. We didn't cut it last week and sell it to you this week. There's some purple grass that was grown outside, and there's some Afghan hash. Free Afghanistan.
Okay, let's give a big hand to all the coffee shops and seed companies that donated. Please don't block the doors. If you want to come in and sit down, there's plenty of room on the floor. We want to form a circle here. We only need enough room for one person to stand in the center. All cameras and camera crews, please go up to the stage. We don't want to block this area. If you've got a camera, right there. It's an elevated platform to be. This is all going to be people sitting down here. Is anybody confused about the ballot? Do you have a question about how to vote? The ballots are downstairs at the front desk. Fantuzzi, is that a ballot you have in your hand? This is what the ballot looks like. At the top is where you write in what you want to win each cup. The judges vote for 8 cups. The celebrity judges vote for 1 cup, ethically grown soil pot. The reason it's a B is because here in Holland, organically grown soil cannabis is called bio. I believe it's pronounced bio in Dutch. Okay, so I'm going to assume no one has any questions about the balloting process, and we can move now to the Heart Song nominations that people want to make. If you want to come to council, come right in and sit on the floor. Don't block the door. If you want to listen to council, don't stand in the doorway. Come and sit down. There's still plenty of room in here. Question? Okay. The ultimate cup, which will be awarded by Stephen Gaskin, is called the Cannabis Cup. Okay, hold on. Malcolm McKinnon's going to make an announcement. Is Todd McCormick in the room? Right here. Okay. Okay. You can vote for the same strain 2 times. You can vote for it for the Cannabis Cup, and you can vote for it for the Hash Cup, the Hydro Cup, or the Bio Cup. But you can't vote for the same strain to be the Cannabis Cup, Bio Cup, Hydro Cup, and Hash Cup, because it can't be Hydro, Hash, and Bio all at the same time. It can be the Cannabis Cup and anything else, though.
Someday.
Okay, so that was a very good question. We got that cleared up. Are there any other like nuances that we need to go over for the judges? All right, we're going to open up for nominations now. Who would like to make the first nomination at council? Come forward and take the microphone. No, Tammy, you must come forward. You must. I think it's great that a sister has come forward to speak first because we want to listen to the sister over there.
I gotta go events all around Jack Herrera again this year.
Yeah. All right.
Tammy's nominated Jack Herrera. Now we see people say, I never saw Jack Herrera. Jack Herrera was given out And a Jack Herer bud, the best one we could find, will be on display downstairs. You can look at it. It's going to be behind a glass panel. But you can only vote for it if your heart tells you that you want to vote for it. If somebody came up here and said a strain, and they overtook you with joy to hear that how happy that person was about the strain, you're free to vote for that strain. Or you could just vote for the favorite thing that you want. This is open to your interpretation of what you want to vote for. You cannot smoke all the different kinds of cannabis on this page in 4 days. That's why we're here. We're here to communicate with each other and form a consensus. So come forward with nominations. It only takes a second to make a nomination. But when you say that word, it projects to everyone here, and then we hear the reaction. If you like what was said here, then you should say, ho. And that means we got an affirmation of the council. If you don't like what was said, you're free to make any comments you want. You can hiss and boo or whatever. And that tells us that there's not going to be a consensus on that one. Okay? Next nomination.
All right. I'd say the Cure 75 made my legs wobble a little bit, but can't beat Lucky Mother's bubblegum. Hey, it's Andy Warhol in a can. Classic to play. Smell this place.
The White Widow kicked my ass. So. On this thing, I think this is incredible. You can say whatever you want about it, but thank you so much. This is truly tremendous.
Thank you, Vivian, organizer of the biggest hemp festival in the country in Seattle. All right, next nomination.
Yeah, hello. Darren. You're the main man. Where is Colombia?
All right. This is the first year we've had strains not from Holland. We had 3 strains entered from North America. One from New York City, HP 13. One from Eugene, Oregon, which was Soma Skunk. And one from British Columbia, the famous, world famous BC Bud from Darren Morgan, who happens to be sitting right here if he wants to say something.
Kind of new, so I know a lot of you didn't get to try it. And really that's sad, but if I could have brought a lot, I really would have loved to share it with all you guys. BC Indica, I didn't have much, but it's pretty hard to get across the border. But I really think that what High Times did this year and all the years they've done this is really great. This is very happy in turnout, and there's lots of love in this room, and that's really what I think this is all about, is getting together and just loving each other. And I got a little bit left, and I got some oil as well that I brought from BC that I'll try and scrape on the buds a little bit and pass around. No one will get to love you, but thanks for coming out, and this is great.
Give a cannabis cup even though everybody didn't try it, because this brother took a lot of risk. And the same thing goes for the other two, the Soma Skunk.
I'd like to say one thing about it.
We got the Soma Skunk here too, so let's give equal time. Is New York City HP 13 here too? We should get all 3 up here.
I'd just like to say something about what made the Soma Skunk come into being. For about a decade, a friend and I worked on this strain that was a cross of Big Bud, Skunk No. 1, and Korean. And after we got that strain pretty stabilized, we found out that once in a while, a totally pure female plant would put out 1 male flower. And that 1 male flower would just make a little bit of male pollen and go through the room and fertilize any of the female plants that were in there, just a little bit, so that you'd get a few seeds without getting a terrible bud. And those seeds, it turned out, would grow absolutely pure females. They never would make a male plant again. Every once in a while, if the plant got stressed out, it would make a hermaphrodite. Other than that, just pure females. Then I took a pure super skunk strain, which is a skunk #1 crossed back to the pure Afghani strain, and one of my very favorites, and I crossed that with the big skunk Korean strain to make the Soma skunk. And although most people never got a chance to try that, I still have some here. I could put in my peace pipe and we could pass it around a little bit and everybody could get. I mean, some people get a little bit of a taste of it. So I'll try that.
Okay, let's talk about Sensimilla for a minute. I think on the 3rd Cannabis Cup, or one of them, the 4th maybe, the Provos, which are the original 60s Dutch radicals, staged a little demonstration against Sensimilla because they said the forced separation of the male and female plants was a form of torture, and that all plants should contain seeds. Because when you give a seedless bud to somebody, you just give them a moment's medicine. You give this seeded bud, and you give a lifetime of medicine to every generation that follows. So I went around to the sisters and I said, "The Sensimilla, what do you think about this?" I mean, all the sisters crowded in the room and no males, and they said, "Oh, we like that." So, I don't know, the jury's still out on that one, what's better? I think you should always lightly seed your pot. Never let a plant go through its life cycle with never bearing fruit. I mean, a few seeds in a bud improve the high, improve the taste, because karmically, the plant has experienced its full potential. So all you growers out there, I want to encourage you, as your plants are finishing, it's a good idea to lightly seed all the buds. Okay, I think the Cannabis Cup Band is going to give a heart song to us. Are they ready? If not, we could put Felicia on for a minute.
Wait, I got this pipe here. I'm ready to start too.
All right, we're ready for some more nominations. Anybody have a heart song they want to share with council? You got to come forward and speak from the mic. Here's Kimberly, who did such a great job with the makeup and face paint at the opening.
Keep this as an aisle so that when CBS comes through, they can walk around the room without having to. I hear you. Shambo.
Nothing to be said about the names of these things we're selling, or to us, trying to tell us what's the best. And I thought Poison was the one, because I thought that was a very cool name. Who's is Poison? Speak up. What's the Poison mean? What's it stand for? Okay, well, I voted for, I think I'm going to vote for the White Widow, because I am a White
Okay. So if you don't agree, let them know that that's a bad choice. If you agree, then say ho. Ho! Otherwise, we're not communicating here. Let's get something out of this experience.
Yeah, that's 2. There's about 3 or 4 after.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Speak up. Okay. Who I haven't heard mentioned, what I'd like to say, a lot of people spend a lot of time trimming, cleaning up these buds that everybody's enjoying smoking. Let's not forget all the people with scissors who spend a lot of hours putting this all together.
Who do you want to win one of the 8 cups?
I trimmed Hydrochronic.
Okay, Hydrochronic. The High Priestess is going to do a little song for us now.
Aloha. From Hawaii. A lot of chaos in here right now. I mean, I was afraid to come in, to tell you the truth.
the smoke's rising, the vibe's rising, everybody's talking real fast and arguing, and it's like all this trippy energy. Like, I just want to go find a flower and sit under it, to tell you the truth. Since I'm the high priestess, I got to be here right now.
Yeah, good.
So, I want to sing a song. Besides the truth, it's like I can't smoke it and talk. It doesn't work for me. You know, it's like I have to smoke it and dance or make love or sing or something. You know? So, maybe I'll smoke a little. You can sing. Y'all want to sing? Yeah, you want to hold the mic. And that's free for each other. I want to sing. I don't even need a mic.
That's the sermon of the Boulder.
This is a song that I didn't write, but I think it's really important to sing the song right. And it's real easy. I want anyone who wants to sing along. This is really what it's all about. It's about us all being together, loving each other. We're really all on the same team. We're here for the mama, for peace, for the earth. Have you ever wondered why the sun comes out to shine? Have you ever wondered why the moon comes up at night? And every day you keep on saying, just don't reach nowhere. And every day you keep on saying, begging for a change. But before the change comes, we got to be together. We've got to love each other. We got to be together. We've got to love each other.
Let me explain something to everybody. About 5,000 years ago, a culture emerged somewhere in the vicinity of Iran. And they started mixing cannabis flowers with milk and drinking it. And a tremendous spiritual awakening took place. And these people understood that God is love. And they also understood that we could live in peace as long as we understood the balance of nature and respected the yin-yang, the male-female elements. But then about 2,000 years ago, this culture was invaded by a warrior tribe from the north who took the spirituality that had been developing for thousands of years and kept it exactly as it was, but they only made one change. They took the female element out of the Godhead. And suddenly, when they wrote it down for the first time in ancient Sanskrit, all the gods were men. And I have to tell you, this was a big mistake. And we've been out of balance with our spiritual trip ever since. And we won't get back in balance till we have 3,000 years of the goddess. And that's what we are. We're the return of the peace. We're the return of the love. And who's carrying the peace and who's carrying the love? The goddess is carrying the love.
She gets you high, remember.
All right, the Cannabis Cup House Band is going to make their nomination now. Please welcome Rock T.
Yeah, greetings and love in the name of Jah Rastafari, for real. And for those that think we haven't been smoking like every 2 seconds since we got here, well, it's true, all right, for real. Everybody, just to make the record straight, all right? And to represent all of my brethren backstage, we all been puffing, we all know what we doing, but to represent the band, and we coming in the spirit of Africa right now, and we know where my mother is, the earth, you know what I'm saying? And our nomination is going to be the Shiva Ganesh, you know. Some people didn't really check that, but that's some very fly herb. And the White Widow came very close to second, but the Shiva Ganesh is the bomb shot, for real, respect.
Yeah, that's loud. Okay, don't forget to react. If he says White Widow and you think that should win, you gotta let him know. You gotta say ho. Ho! Shiva Ganesh, which coffee shop is that?
Dutch Flowers.
Dutch Flowers, Shiva Ganesh.
Yeah, ho,
okay,
ho.
Any more nominations? Hello, some of you might remember me from the Hash Museum. It's like bookstore. But, the theme this year was spirituality, and what I'd like to talk a little bit now is a little bit about the past and the present. For those of you that like bubblegum, might be a little history about that product. That product was derived by the people involved with the gray area about 3 years ago. I was able to work with it last year under my company called Cerebral Seeds. We took second place last year. And one thing I noticed over the weekend is that there was a lot of spirituality going on in some circles, but also a lot of sexuality as well. And everyone likes beautiful boys and girls, but sometimes it's nice to have the pot be the main stage, since that's what we're here for. And Amsterdam is, filled with sex, and we all get that too. But I want to clear that up, and then I want to clear up another subject about some of the other products that are out there. I want to say that I'm formerly Cerebral Seeds, and I represent all the products that we had last year. And last year was last year. And if y'all want to be healthy, stagnation, that's good. But I did a lot of R&D on new products, and that's why I wasn't able to bombard you with tons and tons of weed, because you're growing lots of males, and you're growing lots of other things. You don't have time to grow lots of product to produce for y'all, and that's that. But I'd like to say that The name of my company is Sagarmatha. That means sugar mother in Nepalese. And if you've ever been to the Himalayas, and I hope you can get a chance to go there, you can feel the magic of the mountains. And that's why I chose that name, and I hope that the power will go through everyone that goes with the weed that we grow. And you don't have to panic, because all our products are 100% organic. Thank you.
Turn a judging thing in today just simply because since I haven't tried them all, and I know that it would probably be pretty hard, but I don't feel it's fair to some of the other smaller people like you that I haven't gotten to try your bud, and I'm going to nominate. Well, but I mean, I'm just one person, you know? So I love what you're doing here, though, and I think that this is great that everybody comes together. And that's all. But I did like the bubble gum at Bluebird. So. You know, I did try.
Thank you, sister. That's really all you can do is vote. Vote for what you want to vote for.
In putting this council together, putting this party together, and really, most of all, putting these people together, I've met people in the last few days from all over the world. And everyone is getting along so well. Differences of every kind are just molded together. Well, I'm proud to be here.
We love you! Make a nomination.
Well, I want to say I have been a guest of Tony, Positronics, Greenhouse. You know, I can't even name everyone, all the places I've gone, and I've had some standouts, including some that are not part of the cup, that have been grown by people who live in the area but are not part of the competition this week. And it's the spirit that I love the most. I just want to say, this to me is like a beauty pageant, and everyone is a winner.
The most repressive laws and the harshest treatment that our nation gives to anybody. And we need a purification because we've got this pain from it. People come to council and you see the tears in their eyes. That's because of the love energy that we share with each other and because of the pain that we've endured and the sick people we've seen go without medicine and the crimes that we've seen committed to Mother Earth by petrochemical companies to keep this plant down. And if the United States government had its way, there would be no cannabis. They tried to exterminate the plant. And I can't think of a worse crime against God than the extermination of a species. All right, next nomination.
I'd just quickly like to nominate Western Wind. Did I get that? Tony. I live in Amsterdam a long time, and yes, I don't know.
All right, Sagarmatha Seeds, Western Wind. Thank you, brother.
This is my second year at the cup. It's called Global Chillage. Has the juice got aroma? It's
A special category or anything in all of this. I didn't see one. But I'd like to make a special mention for the Dam Cream, their victory outdoor. It was really excellent. It may not have stood right up to some of this other indoor stuff that was going on, but as a special mention, I got to hand it to that stuff.
All right, I see the Dam Cream Tweeter Commer. And what was the name of it? Victory. Okay, thank you.
Good hash, too.
I just wanted to get up to second that, because I was wondering if I was going to be brave enough in the face of all the other buds to say the same thing that this brother over here has. This is just good working man and woman's weed. It was 8 guilders regularly for a gram, and they gave a discount. It had just good attitude, and I liked the anti-commercial speech the owner of the Damn Crane gave last night. I think he was coming from the heart, and I just wanted to second this band's nomination of Victory Outdoor Bio.
Thank you, brother.
I like the Hawaiian Punch and Tweedlecam are the very best.
That's what I'm smoking right now. That was about Texas.
Share, bro. Katsu also has. Share. Katsu also has the Hawaiian Punch.
Make sure when you vote for a strain you designate, because a lot of the same names like Northern Lights are used by different people. So next nomination, if people are in the back row there and they can't come up here because it's too crowded, you can just yell out what you want to nominate and I'll say it over the mic. So Sensi Seed, which one? Silver Haze, Sensi Seed.
I think honorable mention should be given to Charlie Chaplin's, Thomas, the big German guy.
Chaplin's Bar, Skunk Special, Bio.
He had a tram here that took you to it, and the ride over there was like being shot out of a cannon.
Well, you should come up here and speak because everybody's not going to hear you. And here's a heart song. This is what I mean. This brother's serious. He believes.
Hi, I'm Bob. I'm from Indianapolis. Hey, special mention should be given. I nominate Charlie Chaplin's, the big German dude, Thomas, for his presentation of his product. He had a driver out here, and the guy was a Flying Dutchman. The trip over to his place was like being shot out of a cannon. And then he was there cleaning buds while we were there. And he says, "Hey man, you want to come over and clean some buds?" So I said, "Yeah, sure." Went over and cleaned some buds with him.
How long was the bud?
Who long? It was about that long. And so we're cleaning these buds, and then so he picks one off and we smoke it. And it was excellent quality. I've smoked so much pot, that I haven't got a clue.
Now, how can you say that? He just made a nomination. Now he says he doesn't have a clue. I want to get some straight here. We've been doing this for 8 years. The celebrity judges always come in. We give them a big bag of pot. It's more pot than you can imagine. It's a pile about this big. And at the end of 4 or 5 days, we notice that one of the bags is disappearing really fast. And all the others have barely been touched. So I believe that if you're given a lot of cannabis flowers, that you can find the one that's best for you. The plant talks to us. We got a close communication thing going with this plant. So if you look at the plant, you examine the plant carefully, you smell the plant. Before you smoke anything, you should really just touch and feel and smell and examine all the plants. Because if you try and talk to the plant, it will talk back to you. Any more nominations?
Well, first of all, we've had a really good time here. We came as a big group from Southern California, a group of 10 of us who worked really hard on an initiative that didn't quite make it to legalize marijuana, but we came over here to get energized, and we got to try probably 30 or 40 different kinds of kind. It was a lot of fun. 40 kinds of kind. But anyways, we narrowed it down. We really had 3 places that were really great. At the Greenhouse Effect, we got to meet Arjan personally. He showed us some of his best buds. His Cali Mist was really fine. I'm a bio man personally. I like a grown in dirt, so the White Widow, really righteous, nice.
Western Winds. When we gave it out the other night at opening ceremonies, everyone was supposed to sit down first and keep their hands in their pocket. Because you can't have a spiritual ceremony with this greed vibe overtaking this distribution.
Very chewy bud, needless to say. Here we go. So, next strain.
Hindu Kush from the greenhouse, correct? All right, so we have a nomination. Next nomination.
Blueberry.
Louder. From who? Dutch Treat from Trenton.
The Dutch Treat. Dutch Cream.
Dutch Treat. Bio Purple from Picasso. And we have someone who is a dissenter as far as that goes.
Look at that. Just
Whoa, we have a sticky butt up here. Wait a minute, you got crazy glue over there. Stop that.
Western West is so sticky, sticks to my finger. Rolling weeds, it does that.
All right, so we have some gravity-defying herb over here, which you should all try. Maybe HP13. That's the big I'm from New York. I know, there are just no joints. There are no joints to be found. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I was there and I saw him come in, and I know this. I should have known, and I'm glad you corrected. I stand mute. I tried it and I would say nothing. I don't want to. I know that all of you will probably vote with me. Tastes like church. Smells like. Getting consensus here.
We just talking grasses. Nobody's mentioned hash. Hash is the bluebird. Best hash.
Ho ho!
Tibetan hash from the bluebird. Sing it.
Yeah, White Widow Buds.
White Widow Buds. You said hash. Don't screw me up over here. I'm trying to lead something here.
Suitcase stuff. Suitcase stuff from Dutch Flowers.
Okay, so anything else that might smell like something smells like.
The musical director said Viking.
Viking.
Went into was the Tweed Tamer, and I got some Dutch cream hash, and it was really good. It had my expectations. I think it was a good way to get introduced to Amsterdam. So that's my number.
And hot and dehydrating in front of you.
Next party here tonight.
All Temple Balls.
Here, try it. That's good.
I don't know. I think some of these should be censored here. I don't like this stuff, man. Stage crew says the bluebird. Okay, so we're under control. Hello. Good evening.
Sounds good.
My name is Ziggy Schmaltz. I'm a Dutch guy. That's years. And this place is very inspiring. I was shopping with my wife. We bought some walnuts and little oranges. So the smoke on the street, and we were directing the smoke into this place.
Welcome home.
It's really far out.